Hello, thank you for tuning in to this section of weekly reads. I'm also doing in-person reads in Herkimer, New York. The information should be below. If not, email me and I'll give you the details if you're near Herkimer, New York. This should be on the YouTube channel, James13 Wicca. Every now and then we get some weird people pulling funny little stunts, so I'm going to make sure that that's there. I'm going to put the decks below, and beyond that, let's go ahead and get into your read. If you want a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again, and again, like I said, on to your reading. Hello, Virgo. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Virgo? I'm curious what that card is at the bottom now. I kept seeing it in the not the reflection. It's not the viewfinder. Whatever it is, I can see it in the camera. Oh, it's the 10 of Cups. We like that. Okay, that's good. What is going on here? Great question. Whatever's going on here, it actually is good. It may not seem like it at first. Is somebody like messing with you or something? Like, why doesn't it seem good at first is a good question. Well, you got the Moon card coming in. You got the Journey by Moonlight. So that's an antithesis card for Virgo. In the beginning, I don't understand what's going on or where it's going to end up. I don't understand where it's going. It's something about this just flat out not makes sense. It might even be where it came from, maybe a mystery, and it kind of bothers you. Kind of like, I don't even know why this is here. And if I don't know where it came from, I don't know if I should really be a part of it. It might be one of those things. It is kind of like, I want to know why it's here, where it came from. Will it show up again? Is this just a one-off? Something about this is kind of like, I don't understand what's going on with it. It just doesn't make sense to you. It's kind of like why it's here doesn't make sense. It's almost like getting a bonus at work, and you're like, what's this for? Because you work here. What did I do? You work here. Okay. So if I want this bonus again, what do I do? Who can say? Who can say? It's kind of like, I like it. It does feel like whatever it is good, but it's kind of like, this 4 of Cups is like, but I don't understand why. Are you sure I'm supposed to have it? Are you sure this was meant for me? What did I do that I deserve this? I don't understand. I really feel like for Virgo, that's what bothers you about this. Kind of like, I like it, but I don't understand why I'm getting it. And I'm questioning, like, are you sure I was supposed to get it? Are you sure that was supposed to be for me? Because I don't want to get halfway down the road and then you call me back and go, hey, that wasn't for you, give it back. I feel like I don't understand why people are making certain decisions, and I don't like that. There is a random energy around this situation, but I feel like, for example, if you had this random bonus, it's kind of like one of the reasons they might have given it to you, if that happened, it's kind of like, but why aren't you telling me why? Is because they want you to stay, and for some reason maybe they're afraid you're going to go, or maybe a lot of people are going and they're trying to give you reason to not go, or they're going to ask more of you, and they're trying to sweeten you up before they ask more of you. Something like that. This is a good energy. This is a good energy, but it's kind of like, it's an active energy. Virgo likes active, typically. But it's also unplanned and a little bit, it can be counterproductive. Virgo's not a fan of that. Counterproductive, like putting in a lot of work to something that goes nowhere is not something that Virgo's very warm and fuzzy about typically. So it's kind of like, even though they're successful constantly moving, it's kind of like, yeah, but is it movement that makes sense? I didn't show up just to, for a dog and pony show. I came to make things happen. So that might be another piece of this. That you're having a hard time understanding if it really makes sense, like what they're doing. they're dispersed. So you got like a bonus, just for argument's sake. We're just going to use that for an analogy. It's kind of like, should you have done that? Like, what was that money supposed to be for? Like, should you have done that? Like, did you give out too much? Is that going to hurt the business long run? Are we, we get good today, we pay for it later? It reminds me of like when the government gives out checks. In my opinion, they give out money, but then your taxes are a little higher later because you kind of pay it back. It's like, here's some free money. Not really, because you're going to pay it back later. But okay, sure, it's free money. It's kind of like, is that what's going on here? You give me something now, and I feel like I'm constantly questioning it. Excuse me. I do feel like I try to make peace with it. I keep looking at this. I feel like there's something I'm missing. Because I don't understand why this is happening, and I don't like it, and I can't get over it. Which I think for Virgo makes all the world of sense. All the world. It's random. The Wheel of Fortune is there, which just doubles down on what's already here. It's just, it seems random, and it doesn't make sense. And it's kind of like, does it even matter? It's kind of like, somebody's being good to you. I feel like somebody's being good to you. Somebody's being nice to you. Good energy coming toward you, but you're like, does it even mean anything? Is it just for a moment? I like to have these experiences and be able to build from them. Like, earth signs, Virgo included, obviously, they usually don't get excited about finding $5 on the street. It's nice, but they want to know, like, if there's going to be, like, a bonus here or there, they're like, I want to know what to do to make that keep happening. If there's going to constantly be $5 on the street, I want to know why, and I want to know that I can take it. I want to know that that's good. They want something more dependable. I think you're looking for dependability, and there's question marks all around this thing. All right, so there's more information coming in, or no? It might be delayed. Because I feel like there is a reason for what's going on. I just feel like it's delayed. Somebody is having a hard time making a decision. Page of Wands, but it comes in like this, which means there's some good aspects and not so good aspects. And then the Two of Major Arcana, which is the High Priestess, that's upside down. Somebody's not able to make a decision or afraid to make the wrong decision. And it's going to be a long-term decision is what I'm also getting. You are very well liked, but I feel like they're very stressed because they're like, the decision we have to make is going to last for quite a while. And I don't know if we can convince people to be a part of it. I'm wondering if we're going to have problems. Are we going to have people leaving because of this? There's long-term decisions that have to be made. And they're very nervous about it. They might have a very short-sighted way of looking at this problem because it's kind of like how you view it versus how they view it might be different. Virgo is very like, there's a lot of work to be done, but there's a lot of payoff that's going to match it or get me even better. Okay, that makes sense. This other energy might look at it like, oh, there's going to be a lot of work, and that could be very draining. And they're not really looking at it how it matches together. I feel like Virgo would look at it kind of like, all right, it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm going to get the payoff that either it matches it or is better. Okay, all right, this might work for me. Yes, maybe. Let me look at it a little deeper. Let me know what I can depend on, if I can plan on this, if this is something I feel like I can live with day to day. Let me look at the pieces and components and decide if this really makes sense for my life. Well, this other energy is kind of like, oh, that seems very restraining. This seems like it goes on forever. I don't know if I can do it. They have a different view, a different feeling for how things work in life. So what they're struggling with, it may not be that big of a deal for you, is what I'm getting. Because more energy's coming in. The information's going to start coming in. This sometimes talks about air energy. It can talk about Aquarius. It doesn't have to, but that's an air energy. That's a very forthcoming, let's get the information out there. Let's talk about things. Let's see what's going on. I'm getting, when it's explained to you, it's like, I feel like I got something really nice or something really good, like a bonus or whatever, because they were thinking you were going to be very unhappy with it. To the contrary, I feel like you're fine. You're like, no, this makes sense. As long as it makes sense and it stays where it's supposed to stay, and you give me reasons why I can believe it, it's going to stay where it's supposed to stay, that's what I'm asking for. That's what I need. they work different. I feel like that's what they're missing. Sometimes people really, I feel like a lot of people are like that, where they don't realize that like how you experience things and how somebody else experiences things are totally different. Totally different. It's kind of like when people say that line, well, if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's not true. What your aptitudes are, what you can stand and what you can't stand are totally different than somebody else. That's one of those weird fallacies. Faux pas? Faux pas? Just because you can or just because you feel this way about it doesn't mean anybody else or somebody else you're dealing with is going to feel the same way or be on the same keel as you. So I feel like when you get the information, you're just like, that's not even bad. Like that makes sense. I actually like that. And I feel like you're kind of like a little bewildered again, kind of like what? Like, are you messing with me? Like, you think that's, okay. I feel like when it comes in, you're kind of like, but that makes sense. You're telling me why, what, how long, what to expect, why to believe in it. I feel like you're looking at this like, what? Why are you thinking that's bad? The trick is here is to be careful. You could just go, oh, it doesn't bother me any. Doesn't bother me any. So I'm just going to go forward, plan it out, get myself ready, get my things together, get all ready to get going. And when that moment starts, I'm just off and running, doing what I got to do. I know what to expect, so I'm ready for it. You could go that way. Another idea to actually make this more beneficial to you, I dare say, I'm going to do the dice before I show you this, because it's good, but it's very interesting, because I'm realizing it's a perspective thing. But isn't it always the 6 of something? 6 of Cups reversed? Okay. And then the Hierophant like this, which means it's trying to, this is something that's trying to lock in. The situation is in the process of trying to lock in. So it's like, I don't have the Hierophant out here, but if it's like this, it's kind of like, it might lock in, it might not. If we can get it to go this way, it's kind of like a slow push, but if we can get it there, this situation could lock in. I don't feel like there's any guarantees on this one just yet. I don't know if you're aware of that going into this, but I get that it's not quite like locked in, but the more successful it is, the more likely it will. And there's no history with it. The 6 of Cups reversed is telling me there's no history with it. So either it's something new to you, new to this, for example, if it was a job, new to this department, new to this business, there's something about this where there's no history. Could be a new manager or something is new here that does not have the history to back it up. And I get, you want to identify that. At first, I feel like it might be like, well, that's not something I have to worry about. Well, it's more beneficial for you to know it's there, because you'll probably catch on to how, like, I feel like it's kind of like looking at a puzzle and somebody's not realizing, like, you put this puzzle on this clear mat, so you're seeing through it and you're seeing the table underneath, not realizing that some pieces are missing. But the angle you have, it's kind of like your angle of the puzzle, if that makes sense. It's kind of like I'm sitting over here and I can see the glare off the table. It's very obvious to me where those pieces are missing. It's very obvious where we need to kind of fill these things in. They're looking straight onto it. They don't see it. To me, it's painfully obvious. Like, this has to happen. That has to happen. You need to do this over here. That hasn't even been touched. I don't know what you're thinking about over there. You have the perspective to see it. You can highlight and be like, did you realize? Did you realize? Did you realize? And that will not only solidify the whole experience, but your experience. So that way, if you want to keep this, it's more than likely going to stay. It's going to help put that energy where you want it. Instead of it being a question, it'll lock it in, which is, I feel like, what you want. Unless you decide you don't want to, then, do what you got to do. Realizing that there's certain things here that aren't going to make sense to other people, but you make sense of it, but you see it. It's kind of like you seeing it. It's like being on the ground floor, seeing everybody who's walking in the building. People up there in the higher places, they're not seeing who's actually walking in, who's actually doing this, who's actually doing that, what type of people are interested. You have that intel. You have some knowledge that they don't have, and you can make this stabilize. You can help deal with this fog. They're fogged in. You can help them see through the fog. that could stabilize your situation if you decide you want to keep this situation. By doing that, wear your diplomacy hat. If you have a diplomacy hat, wear your diplomacy hat. Because there are opportunities. I wouldn't say for everybody, but there are opportunities, but it's up to you. When I say wear your diplomacy hat, you got to be aware that the people you're talking to have to enjoy the conversation. It's not only has to be helpful, it has to be enjoyable. I'm not saying that's fair. I'm not even saying that's right. But I'm saying you got to wear your diplomacy hat. You got to be careful about how you say stuff. You don't want people looking at you going, oh God, here comes Virgo. What are they going to tell me? You want people looking at you like, oh, here comes Virgo. They always have an upbeat attitude. They'll always help me fix something if it's not going right. They'll give me solutions. Solution-oriented. You definitely want to be solution-oriented if possible. Diplomacy hat, you know? Because you might end up getting yourself into a position of a more improved position. You want to be aware, though, why you know what you know. So, like, if you're on the ground floor, and that's why you know what you know, because you see who's walking in, you want to be careful about moving up too high and not being able to see what you need to see. So it's kind of like, oh, I want to be a part of that group. I want to be, say, a part of maybe the management team's on the 3rd or 4th floor, and whatever you're doing is on the 1st floor. You're like, I do want to be a part of that team, for example. Maybe you're moving on up to there, but you're like, but I want my desk to be down here. And just keep that in mind. I've seen people do this at other businesses, and it's kind of where, you know, somebody in management is down sitting with everybody else, and other people are like, why did they do that? Because that's how they got where they are. That's how they keep control of, that's how they know what's going on. That's how they keep control of things, literally. They know, they're paying attention, they see what's going on, they're right in the middle of it. They can see what issues people are having, and they can hear, like, okay, that was a problem, this is a problem. They can see how people are working together. Keep that in mind, too. Virgo's very strong with keeping their foot in reality. Probably both feet very, very strongly in reality. So, you may have opportunities like that coming forward. Keep your diplomacy hat on. Keep your diplomacy hat on. You're going to be seen as something that helps the situation improve. It's all about how they feel about you, though. So, like, you can be effective, but, like, be careful about how you say stuff. Make sure you have that positive energy coming towards it. Make sure you're feeling good about it. Have solution-oriented situations. Even if it's normally not your shtick to be all, yay. Even if it's normally not, they're like, for this situation, if you really want it to go your way, they're saying kind of keep that in mind. Are we good? All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James set up 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.